here for complexity.
Okay. Sticking with your choice, I like that.
I'm sticking to my team as well.
Okay, all right, good stuff. Let's get underway in game 2.
Okay, not EG. You won't do it now.
Draft for game 2 is underway. And EG, of course, looking at a 2-0 lead if they can secure this one. And not only that, they would move into the semi-finals where they are guaranteed $1.2 million. The draft is underway. Nagasiren is first pick.
Yeah, that doesn't look good at all. EG having the Naga once again here. And this time, Complexity are going to be the ones to pick up the Lina, but Nagasiren is a dangerous support, especially in this current style that everyone is playing. It's so powerful to have that disjoint. We saw what happened top, and when Antimates was split pushing, that was a lot because of the Nagasiren song. It kept people in place for so long.
And they can like redirect creep waves with the illusions. I mean, there's just a lot you can do with the Nagasiren.
Yeah, even the Kuroki style, stacking like 3 camps at once or 4 camps at once even. He did that during the group stage. It has many different strengths to it. And it's a hard hero to kill. She has a lot of armor, starting with a poor mass shield.
And we tend to forget, but it's a very strong laner. Like, it's a hero that has very good movement speed, very high armor.
I mean, it counters BKB heroes as well. I mean, the hero just basically does so much for the team.
And he can transition into a core easily.
I think she's been a lot stronger ever since people figured out that she can actually be put in a dual lane off lane. And people are like generally like, oh, 2 melees in off lane, that's terrible. But they did it last game with the Sand King and Naga was able to pressure out the Clinks.
Yeah, exactly. Just run at the enemy and start riptiding and just auto-attack them. You will pretty much win that trade unless it's something, you know, something super strong like a Gyrocopter that you shouldn't run into in the first place.
Geniuses turn.
It's most likely going to be an offlane Tusk. I think it's safe to say that it's going to.
I don't think they've ever played a support Tusk in my memory.
And that
EG?
Yeah,
they did one. They did PPD.
Oh yeah, the one that he was blocking the creeps, but that was the only game they actually did it.
Yeah.
And with the Naga, being picked up so early as well, it's highly unlikely that the Tusk is in.
I agree.
I don't think you do that on Dire as well. I mean, on Radiant you can do it towards the mid lane with the pulling mid wave. But on Dire, maybe you can get the medium pull on the top lane, but that still doesn't change much.
They ended up losing that game, and I think that Evil Geniuses, they've played enough to the point where they kind of rely on PPD being that super defensive support, where if someone goes too aggressive, you always have that safe plan. But when he played Tusk, they really couldn't play the same way, and it wasn't exactly the same EG that we're used to.
Yeah, we always think we hear the name PPD, it's like, oh, Dazzle, Treant, Abaddon, you know, these type of heroes, that's the PPD style. So we'll see. I'm pretty convinced that this is going to be an offlane Tusk as well.
5 seconds.
We're seeing the same bans, more or less. Like the Techies ban, the Brewmaster ban, it was banned as well in the first game. So.
Or it's Bounty Hunter.
Exactly, yeah, that's a very good question actually. The Bounty Hunter has been ignored. I don't think it's going to be picked by EG because they have already the AOI hero. I don't think PPD
cold though
is really the Bounty Hunter player. But yeah, maybe for Complexity rather. I don't think EG is going to get it.
It works really well with Lina. So having Lina and Bounty Hunter could work. As it makes the mid lane a little bit easier, just having Bounty Hunter sneak around. And when you do have the ulti, you can so easily find kills with the Bounty Hunter, slowing people down, easy stun. So we'll see. It's definitely on the table for them as they have their ban and pick.
So it is funny because EG has been first picked twice, so I assume one of the teams is favoring side pick. So I guess Complexity are favoring Radiant and EG first pick. That would be the explanation for it. So there might also be a reason for that.
Yeah, they also gave them Nagasiren twice in a row, EG. So playing Dire side is something they're fine with, I suppose.
And there's a lot of respect towards Sumail. That's how I feel. Like Lina, so they banned Leshrac, they banned coOL, and they grabbed Lina very fast. So that's a lot of Sumail heroes. Obviously, there's still Storm, Zeus, like he plays many different heroes. Even Brewmaster, but we haven't seen him play so much lately.
And when I watched him play before he got on EG, he actually played the Lina versus Storm matchup a lot as Storm, and he would crush that matchup.
Oh, he would win the matchup versus Lina.
Yeah, he would.
Oh, that's very interesting.
This was, I think, actually before the nerf too.
It
was pretty surprising, but.
So this is something that we were talking about before that might actually be much better if they're running the same strategy again. Like Dragon Knight would actually fit their lineup much better, and the ease of execution is also, compared to the Clinks, is much better.
Yeah, I think it's very it's very good that they went back to something like this, especially because it was also what they lacked last game, and it's also something they're very successful with. So I'm very glad Complexity picks up the Dragon Knight. They used to run a lot of Enigma with it. And it could be a Lina core, it could be a DK mid, Lina Dazzle safe lane, Enigma jungle, which is not a very weak safe lane, like you can get away with it. And Fly is an extremely good Enigma player. It's one of his favorite heroes to play.
Z Freak as well. Like, so they have two different players that love to play Enigma. So if any team should pick it, it's Complexity. But they haven't run it a lot at all. I mean, no team does. But we'll see. They could definitely pull it out for one game.
It's super tough for Naga though. Like
it is.
You can't BKB ulti because you can just net you, and if you don't get BKB, you can just stay out and sleep.
Their first game of the group stage, they had DK Enigma. It was DK Enigma Dazzle. It's how they started. Like, you know, it was probably one of their go-to strategies, and then they did quite well.
That was their
maybe they're saving it.
That's pretty cool.
And now they're facing a tough situation, and it might come back again. So it could be one of their go-to strats, one of the strats they're the most confident with.
EG had a lot of wave clear last game with the Lina and the Sand King, and this game it's, I'd say, severely lacking with the Tusk pickup.
Yeah, I mean, Tusk offers something, though. The Ice Shards are not terrible, and Naga-san can still send her Illusions and Riptide, but if it's a support Naga, that's not impressive at all.
But this time they have a Dragon Knight, which is like much stronger. I think they need like much stronger wave clear than last game.
And the Dazzle heal. Yeah. Like, it's going to be
Do you think
enough
they're going to go coL maybe even into this lineup?
I think
depending
coL would be a
what they pick.
Yeah.
Like EG might go for Storm coL or CM, which is...
coL's usually the AoE hero, though.
Yeah.
Well, what would PPD play in that case, indeed? The CM makes a lot more sense. It's also good at, like, the Crystal Nova is not a bad spell at clearing waves. I think, Naga Maiden, it's always been a support duo that works really well.
Team fight-wise as well, like if you're up against, it's going to be like maybe a similar situation where Complexity tries to push in too early and you have the song into the Maiden ultimate, which could, one fight is all it takes.
Yeah,
just
definitely.
change the game.
I think EG are very happy to go into Dragon Knight with a Storm pick, though, because like this could secure a good mid lane for Sumail. Laning against a melee hero as Storm is so easy. So yes, there's a strong push from Complexity, but they need to really be able to group up as 5 and go. So one way to solve that is to start ganking before that happens.
Yeah, like the only issue is like if the Storm gets into the situation where the enemy is grouping up, like he wouldn't be able to do much against that. So that would be the issue there. But I could see it working if he actually gets a very good start. Has the CM, he has the CM aura, so the lane will be really good for him.
I have to say, I really like both refs so far. I think
armor, they are like solid. Stacking all the armor, literally. Dazzle, Dragon Knight, and Sven.
Yeah, they're one of the few teams that actually pick Sven without... Like, we saw Cloud9 pick it up versus the Techies because of the Warcry versus the Mines. We've also seen Sven IO, not terribly common, but still probably one of the most common partners with Sven. But Complexity is one of the few teams that just pick straight Sven carry without any partner.
Do you think like Zeus would be good against this type of lineup? You mass spell damage because they have a lot of armor, so Zeus would be able to actually deal with them very well before they have BKB.
Okay, my
I think Zeus could have worked really well. It's still an option for them. I like the Razor pick. I think it's also quite solid because they do lack damage in a way. Like if you can control the Sven, I think they like a bit of damage.
It's a good way of dealing with the Sven. Like the Razor, I feel a lot of it is like the matchup between Sven and Razor is very favorable for if you're going to run the Sven as a carry. So Razor would have a very good matchup in that sense.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean that's very fine, but if it just goes late right now, having DK and Sven and a Dazzle decide that, I think Complexity have a very comfortable late game scenario ahead of them. And I'm surprised that EG did not go for the harder carry approach, but instead went for the...
It might be because they're like looking for a Tinker mid. I think Tinker has a lot of synergy with Naga. It's really good late game, and it's good at stalling the pushes. I think it's a little bit better than Zeus, although I do like the Zeus pick versus the mass armor. It just doesn't scale as well late, and I think that EG always drafts like, sufficient late game.
Just look at their lineup right now. They need someone that the Sumail hero they are looking for has to have very heavy carry potential, and Tinker definitely fits that category.
Yeah, sounds like a great pick.
Yeah. I don't think Storm is the hero with their current matchup anymore. Like, it's going to be hard to kill. So many tanky heroes and the Grave.
You can't kill anyone, I think, as a Storm. So if you can't kill, you want a hero that can drag out fights like Tinker.
And you're facing Lina with Jules, DK. It's going to be a tough Storm game. It's very not easy to play. A BKB is really needed.
So do they have any other options apart from Tinker, Zeus?
Yeah, Zeus and Tinker are like the go-to, but thinking they ban out the Bloodseeker, so worried about that. That could have been a strong hero actually. The AoE is making it hard for Dazzle to get a good grave off with the silence coming out.
But Sumail doesn't play any of these if they were to pick Bloodseeker.
That's true. Well, maybe they expect him to play Razor in that case, just putting a Razor mid. I'm not sure. It doesn't seem like a Sumail hero though.
So how about complexity? So they're definitely looking for their offlane hero. Sven, Lina most likely the support here with Dazzle, and the last one will be their offlaner.
I really feel like they need AoE control. I don't know. I thought Centaur would be a great pick, but it was bad.
Yep, Centaur will be great for their lineup.
Magnus could work. Axe
Magnus sounds really good with Sven.
Something like this. Magnus, an Axe. They really need control. That's what they like to me.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's gonna be good, but I could...
Not sure what's the reasoning though.
Yeah, I don't really quite understand the Timbersaw pick, I have to say, but especially because he's gonna have to face a very, very tough lane. Like Naga made in Razor, you're gonna die every time you
Yeah, and the issue with Timbersaw is if you don't get anything out of the lane, you can't jungle, and there's no way of coming back.
Yeah,
so it's very difficult.
Heroes. He needs to be on the lane and get XP.
They should dual lane like 100% in this game. Just looking at Dazzle and Timbersaw are most likely gonna go together and just a Lina Sven lane, and then
how about the aggro try? Sven, Lina, Dazzle, and let Timbersaw get a 1v1 matchup. That would actually work.
That would be nice for him as well.
But it's a tough lane to challenge though, because Maiden, Naga, Razor is not... they can just spam you out.
I mean, they have a lot of stun and nuke, so it could probably work in their favor if they get their spells right. I mean, they can chain lock and kill someone.
It would be exciting. We haven't seen a try versus try in the game at all, actually.
I think when you pick Timbersaw, a lot of his strength is if you get a suitable 1v1 matchup and he's against Tusk.
Yeah, that's
a strength hero.
That would be a dream.
Ember Spirit. That is interesting.
Brought up a good fighting hero early on and works a lot better into the late game than, you know, for say the Storm Spirit would. And he's pretty strong early on as well when he has max level in Flame Lord, so this could work.
Interesting. Interesting lineups indeed. We are ready for game number 2. EG stand on the cusp of the semi-finals of the upper bracket and a top 6 finish at TI5. Let's find out whether they can confirm it or Complexity can come back and square the match. Let's go back to the commentators.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's time to get underway to see if Complexity can force this to a third game or if EG would find themselves sitting very comfortably in their semi-final position. Synderin, we have an abnormal draft.
Yes, I am so excited about this game. You know, I looked at Complexity's lineup, and the first thing that just came to mind for me was just armor. That was the first thing I thought. Like, their entire lineup, apart from Lina, she's the odd one out. You might be seeing 3 heroes on the Radiant side running around with like 40 to 50 armor in fights. They have the Warcry from Sven. Let me try that again. The Warcry from Sven. Apparently that was a tongue twister today. For 20 armor. Timbersaw's passive, of course, also maxing out at 20 armor. Then they have Weave. And they have a Dragon Knight who innately has a lot of armor when he gets Dragon Blood up. And this makes me worry a little bit for EG, because when you look over their side, the vast majority of their damage is actually physical. In the super early game, of course, Flame Guard from Ember can be powerful, but come mid-late game, EG will have to rely on Razor with his ultimate and just right-clicks, as well as Ember Spirit Sleight of Fist to get the job done. I'm simply worried that we could reach a point here where Complexity will be able to push the base at 25 minutes with all of their armor just stacked up, and EG can't repel them. I love Complexity's draft for this matchup. I think it's way more one-sided of a draft for me compared to game 1, and EG, in my opinion, have to play a really good game here to win.
It feels like the polar opposite of like a Husker as far as the way the hero is built, and it's Complexity who can just stand alive with a huge amount of armor. Of course, so Timbersaw hasn't been the most popular of heroes of late, also because of the age of the burst damage. Another good reason why to have that Lina picked up by Complexity nice and early on. There's nothing like that. Like, there's no Finger of Death, there's no Laguna Blade just to bring him down before these armor charges start to stack for the Timbersaw. He said it maxes at 20, but it still could be brought down before that. Everything from EG is pretty continuous until we hit the Ember Spirit having like huge amounts of damage. But that's only if you get there.
Yeah, we might see in this particular game Sumail considering a Deso build over a Battle Fury, or maybe he's going to get both. But I think this time around, EG simply need to address that problem at some point in the game. If their early game doesn't go incredibly, so they just get really far ahead and don't really have that problem, they will need to itemize. They will need a Cuirass, they will need a Deso. It's really good to get it on the Ember because it hits all the targets automatically with his Sleight of Fist, so they can apply the Deso to all the heroes. Alternatively, could consider it, of course, on Universe's Tusk. It's not that uncommon of an item on that hero.
Owie, real trouble on bottom lane. The Light Strike array from Flying was able to connect. They need more damage to kill him, however. That's a stout shield. But then again, with a second Light Strike array, Complexity open up the account. They claim first blood, and this is not the way EG wanted to start this. Because the Observer was that were down from Complexity, they saw where EG was shifting their lanes. They saw, okay, the Tuskar's moving back up the top because he was trying to dodge the Timbersaw, and already Complexity had preemptively noticed that EG are going to switch this. They've actually brought the Timber down to the bot lane. Universe just can't catch a break.
This is a very... I feel like this happens pretty rarely, but it's a very logical play. Moon Meander got pressured in the top lane, and instead of TPing back to base or TPing to his safe lane, or his off-lane tier 1 tower, as we usually see off-laners do when they're threatened, he just immediately TP'd bottom. They knew they wanted the lane swap immediately, so he kind of gets, like, he solves two problems at once. He escapes a gank and gets himself into a better lane with 1 point. And now this top lane for EG, I'm not so sure about this for Complexity, actually. I think Razor Naga has a lot of potential to kill a Sven Lina lane. Sure, they've got a decent amount of spell burst, but if they don't get the full combo off and put fear really low very quickly, the Naga and Razor can just run them down with Static Link and, of course, the Ensnare.
That's why it's interesting to watch how they're just prepping themselves on the lane. So Fly starts with the Light Strike array, then you go into something like the Stormbolt, so you're able to get that second stun off. Instead of just having the Sven throw out the Stormbolt and go from there, Sumail might be in a little bit of trouble here in mid lane, pushing back the Flame Guard and having a PMS does help. There's been a lot of trade-off in that mid lane, but Sumail still found a very large chunk of farm as that Ember Spirit, 14-1 up against that DK who's got 8 for 1 currently.
That's the good thing about this pick for EG. We've talked.
Fear. They're going to split up the lane right now. Fly knows he could be in a little bit of trouble. Z-Freak's going to babysit him all the way out of here. There's no ensnare for Naga. She's still only level 1. So they move the Sven back over again while I'm hearing a little bit of chains in mid. Swindermelons is fine. He's a DK.
But yeah, what I was getting at, this lane in mid is actually a very good lane matchup for Ember compared to a lot of the matchups we see. The reason Ember mid is played pretty rarely in competitive Dota is that he's just a weak mid laner. He can get pressured very well by long-range heroes with harassment such as Queen of Pain and Lina. But Dragon Knight can't really put out the same amount of pressure. You Flame Guard and you just take the wave, and you can try to break the Flame Guard with Breathe Fire, but that doesn't cut it. It's not enough to remove it. So.
But then again, does he have to? Like right now, it almost feels like the Dragon Knight just has to sit there, farm it up as much as he can, and just don't die.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Because the other lanes are doing their work. Timbersaw's actually gaining momentum as a solo hero on this lane. For me, I think that's as scary than anything else that EG's going to be facing.
This is definitely what Complexity is.
Stormbolt, top lane, they go on Fear. Fly will get the Light Strike array as well with the Poison Touch Fear. He won't have the movement speed to escape. Evil Geniuses. They're down 2 kills to 0 here in the early stages of Game 2.
And very good movement here from Z-Freak and Zizzy after the stun combo, making sure they get the maximal damage out of the Shadow Wave. Hitting 2 targets with the Shadow Wave, dealing some good physical damage to Fear, bringing down the Razor.
Okay, I want to ask you about this. PPD, he's in the jungle for 4 minutes now, found 3.5 levels, went the 2 points up in the aura. Does PPD come out and actually be a presence on this top lane? He's only got Frostbite right now. When does the Crystal Maiden become effective? And I'm asking this as well because I'm just thinking when it happens, PPD is just going to end up feeding himself.
He's going to need to find the best way for himself to have an impact while getting farm. I think this is the kind of game where it's really important the Crystal Maiden gets farm.
Middle lane,
it's kind of weird because you usually don't pick CM like
he's in real trouble. Yeah. Dragon Tail stun. He gets the Flame Guard up, however, so he's able to tank through a lot of this and actually turn on to Fly. The burn's doing his work, and Swindermelon's putting his body in front of him.
Level 3 Flame Guard blocks 350 magic damage, so it's both spells from Fly as well as a Dragon's or a Breathe Fire. Pretty much, they need to get through that in the first place, and then, well, they haven't really damaged him. But yeah, what I was going to get at is that I think the CM in this game has to get farmed to get a good ultimate off, because as mentioned, they will need to get some sort of magic damage in order to pierce all the armor. So PPD's involvement in this top lane should be, he should try for ganks when there's a really high probability of success, but he shouldn't come in just to harass. It's not going to be worthy of his time. So he has to find a way to to build toward a Glimmer Cave, for example, or something that will enable him to use the freezing field later on in the game. But full-time jungling is not good either. It's actually really slow on Crystal Maiden. It's deceptively slow. You're like, wow,
this could be an opening right now, but he missed the chains, and that means Swindelmelons can turn around, goes to the Dragon's Tusk over on the Tusker, fly with his follow-up stun, but not enough life to really stay that close to the Ember Spirit. But this is the first rotation out from the Tusker, and Universe unable to find the opening, while on bottom lane, Warcry, Zven just trying to outrun Fear. He saw 28 points of damage, but the creep wave also went so far behind the tower that Fear was forced to back up. He had no more support there.
So far, so good in the early game for Complexity, in my opinion. Sven is not finding that much, but neither is Razor. Like, the nature of this lane with how they're pressuring each other, a lot of CS will just be lost. And the effective trade-off is Ember is getting a really good mid lane for the Timbersaw getting a really good safe lane. And I think this is a very, very good Timber game. This hero shreds Ember as well. It's something we haven't talked about. By having 3 abilities that can potentially deal pure damage, of course Whirling Death depends on a tree, but the 2 others are guaranteed pure. They pierce the Flame Guard. So Moon Meander can very quickly make work of Sumail if he gets out of position.
Searing Chain's going again. Here's Sumail. He's got Spirits to commit if he wants to go after Swindle, but coming underneath the tier 1 tower is not something he wants to do this early on. Let's actually just do a Timber Shake, because we haven't had a Timber really in a while. What's the item build that Moon Meander is looking to do in this game against EG's heroes as well?
I think if you get this much free farm, you're probably looking for Arcane Boots into Bloodstone. It's an item build that's so effective on Timbersaw because he gets so much armor from the reactive armor.
Swindelmelons is dead. The Spirit Snowball, he's only got 1 point up for the Dragon Blood. The double TPs are on the way, and it's actually Moon Meander coming in. He finds Universe, but needs more damage. He's not going to find it. Dazzler says Shallow Grave himself. Sumail, Spirit's up, and he's actually, is that even on the high ground? I don't think that actually is. Oh, it is. It's just on the edge. He'll go up while Aoi 2000 looking for some other revenge. His TP out. Will it be in time? No, it will not. Moon Meander will find the kill. It was still, however, Sven also dying on the top lane during this engagement. So EG find the better trade-off.
Yeah, this is very important. They don't only get 2 for 1, but they also force a rotation from Timber off that bot lane. So a little bit of farm gets lost. Moon Meander, however, did get 1 kill there, so I guess that kind of evens out in the end. But I'm actually surprised he didn't try to go for the Ember Spirit a bit earlier. When he TP'd in, his target of choice was the Tusk, who had like full health and should easily be able to escape, whereas if he hits a Timber Chain there and catches Sumail off guard, he might have actually been able to blow him up. But probably just respecting the ability of his opponent. Would expect a fast Fire Remnant into Jaunt, or what's it called? Activate Fire Remnant. That's actually a pretty boring name when you think about it. Fire Remnant and Activate Fire Remnant. But
well, as Blizz says, inventive names. What was it, the Dragon Knight? It's the Blue Dragon. Doesn't even have white eyes. For Complexity. They were trying to move around, and like Timbersaw was thinking about going up to top lane. There was a little bit of indecision, so he stuck around in mid, fakes the chain against Sumail. But this let the DK have a little bit more space on bottom lane. Went to Dragon Form Swindelmelons, and he dropped that tower down by a grand total of 52 life. So maybe not as effective as I was initially thinking it was. But he's at least able to find his farm down here. It's quite safely. So catching up on the CS. I say catching up, we're still sitting at 3k net worth, which is only 300 behind that of the Timber.
And this is overall just a very even game right now. Like, no one has a significant gold or experience advantage, and in my opinion, this just plays into Complexity's favor. Like, again, the way they've tailored their lineup, the time they're supposed to peak, if they get through the early game without too many troubles, Crystal Maiden's going to fall off unless she does get very good farm, which is definitely not the case right now for PPD sitting on 8 CS. The Naga Siren has not had a major impact. AUI is 0-2-0 with 8 CS, so the supports of EG falling behind, and the cores... That's the crazy thing, right? Even if EG's cores get really good farm, it just seems like Complexity from a draft standpoint definitely have some very good solutions if they play it right.
Mm-hmm.
So?
Well, it's actually kind of funny though, like you bring up the CS factor, you've still got PPD, like most of these creeps he's taken are the big ones in the jungle. So he's only just off level 6.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as it could look like in the numbers, but yeah, it's not terrific either, saying these supports are going to do a lot of Sumail. It's going to get forced out by Moon Meander. He doesn't have a lot of mana. There are 12-1 charges, so we could jump for it, but really he was trying to keep him away from the runes. Speaking of that, Universe going to find himself an Invis rune, and instantly DK Swindle is forced back. In fact, he's just abandoning bottom lane. which is where, again, doesn't this feel the same as like game number 1? Aoi has himself a bit of a slow start in the Naga, and then all of a sudden finds himself space on one of the lanes. Before it was the safe lane, now it's going to be the off lane.
Yeah, they're going to need Song. It's very important. It's always with support Naga. Reaching level 6 is a really big deal.
Universe moving forward. They put the sentry ward down so they can see him, but he missed the shots. Snowball down, and Z-Freak needs to shallow grave quickly. Cannot get it off in time. And this means that it is the first kill coming in for EG for this mid-fight. But Swindamel is keeping on the back of Universe, the Sigil. Going to make this difficult to keep the chase going. Especially now as Sven has arrived. He's going to Warcry it up. They can force the issue on the tower. Sumail, he's still got 9 1 charges, and in fact now has a full bottle as well. So he's still looking good to defend this.
He needs to be careful.
Sumail's
going to triple spirit.
Oh, that's a lot of spirits, but then the stun, and Swindamel, he's going to get flipped by the Walrus Punch, and in fact Sven locked inside the shards. This time though, Dazzle will be here, turning on the God Strength. They have to protect Sven, and there it is. They keep the Shallow Grave on him. He is ticking down in a moment at Sumail. There's your Searing Chains. They turn for one more stun, but it's still a double kill for Sumail. EG getting the upper hand in the mid lane.
And Complexity, they really wanted to get that tier 1 tower mid, and getting a little bit too greedy for it here with Swindle as well as Sizzy simply just got surrounded by with PPD's rotation there. Good rotation in from the left to kind of sandwich them there at the mid tier 1, and that's going to bring PPD up to level 7 as a matter of fact. This is a high level CM at minute 12. As mentioned earlier, his farm isn't that good, but he's still going to be able to pick up his Tranquils now. Probably, as mentioned, going to be looking for a Glimmer Cape as his next item of choice in this game, potentially. It's also possible he's going to be even more ambitious and look for something like a BKB first, just to guarantee his ult, because there's no BKB counter in this game for Complexity, and that will allow a guaranteed ult, which, once again, I think is going to be absolutely crucial for them.
Yeah, they need to slow down all these melee heroes running around, but still, one person who's not going to care about that is the Timbersaw. He's still able to move by Timber Chain. And again, Complexity, they're going to force the issue here. The Dragon Form comes back off cooldown, so you could just pop this and have the tower tick down. You would put the peril of the denial, which would be a decent amount of money taken away from Complexity.
And it looks like EG are expecting this. They obviously have a very good high ground ward right now, seeing both Swindle and Z-Freak. Universe is porting in anticipation of the push, but it's actually not coming just yet.
He might be worried also the fact that Fly went missing from the top lane, because they smoked up. So it's the movement coming in from Complexity. If they walked a little bit further to the side, then Fear would have actually broken the smoke. But they go in deeper. They're searching for the Crystal Maiden, and this should be an easy pick-off. Just turn for the stun, but Fly a little bit too far away. Should be able to still hit the Light Strike array, but decides, you know what, maybe not the possibility. Go Laguna as well as Slave. Sumail just Spirit jumping down. You'll get the Searing Chains on Fly, who again, attempting a TP out, will not be in time. But the Sven will be able to survive. Meanwhile, on bottom lane, the push just keeps coming in. Same for mid lane. Dragon Form kicks in, and Evil Geniuses, they managed to walk all the way down. In fact, they're just going to go for the snowball. Searing Chains, where's it going to come from? Sumail, not enough mana for it, even with the 3-1 charges. A very early Shallow Grave from the Dazzle, and there's not much more he can do here apart from a quick heal. Timberstorm will arrive, and Sumail, no mana with the Whirling Death, but the Tusker, the shards are able to connect. He finds the kill on the DK, and now the Timberstorm's dropping as well. EG, they brought in all their friends and had a party on Complexity's corpses.
They are just so greedy for this middle tier 1 tower, and EG are taking full advantage of it right now. This is very, very important for them to get a head start in this early game, and Razor being involved here as well is going to speed up Fear's mech, which I think is coming out soon, and a very big pickup against this Radiant team that has a lot of AoE burst damage. Sumail has eyes on Zizzy. They will need some sort of secondary TP to set this up though, but might also just be a counterplay coming in here.
Well, there's your Searing Chain, Sumail. He can't find this kill, not now that the Dazzle is up here. But he can at least force Zizzy out. Then again, Spirit jumps in, he's got Searing Chains up. But again, with the Dazzle behind him, Shallow Grave was on cooldown, but has come off cooldown now. He would have forced the issue just a little bit too long if he pushed for it. The Shallow Grave would have stopped him.
And I'm going to play it safe here. Sumail will now be just getting farm on the top lane. Looks like he's going to build for a fast battle fury here. He's not going for any drum build-up, which I think Sumail's item build on Ember is generally different from the norm. We see most Ember Spirit players, I think it's like 50-50 between phase and treads, but a lot of Ember Spirit players favor getting the drums as a build-up item to get especially both for the mana efficiency, but also for a bit of tankiness. In this game, they do have a CM, so it doesn't really need the mana that much.
Stormbolt.
Oh, almost brought that one over to Universe.
They actually managed to get the shards off again. Universe, perfect positioning with the Tusker. Sharding back through, but Sven kept alive for the moment by the shallow grave. Not a healthy man by any stretch of the imagination, but Mumianda forcing EG back, but it's just Sumail and Universe teaming up together to cause problems. Fear, middle lane, Laguna Blade, as well as the stun with the Breathe Fire. Dropped him down low, but PPD with a Frostbite, as well as the Nova. Bought enough space, just enough space for him to TP out to safety. The Tusker will die on top. As was like, Mumianda was able to catch up to him.
Yeah, I caught that one. It looked like, so EG getting a little over aggressive in that situation. Oh, wait a second, Sumail. Okay, he's got chains. He should be okay here.
There's Soul Ring off cooldown in 2 seconds, so if you want to go deeper, you could.
But yeah, they tried for the kill with Tusk and Ember, but Dazzle had a heal, and then, you know, being next to Timbersaw and trees is generally not a good thing.
Sumail's attacking. He's after the Timbersaw, and then again realizes that the Lena's going to be here. Light Striker Ray will be up by him a little bit of time, but Fly's dead here. Is going to burn no matter what. The Dragon Tail Stun also trying to assist his teammate. But Fly had no way out of that riverbed.
Dire's top tower is under
This ward on the top lane is doing so much work for EG. They see all these rotations. They know exactly who's coming in and when. And they might be able to hold the tower because the Dragon Form just expired now for Swindle. They do have a glyph as well.
Yeah, they come in from behind. Smoke on EG Universe. And Sumail. Who's he go for? Who's the bigger target? And he just makes a run straight for the Dazzle. He wants him to waste the shallow grave over on the Dazzle. In fact, he won't even get it off. Down for the count. Owie now with the Song of the Siren, keeping Sven away from him. This will waste a lot of the time of that gold strike. But now Timbersaw also coming back to fight, putting down the Chakram. So there's one way to get out. But PPD just lets it go from inside the tree line. Sven, they can't walk away fast enough. The shards lock him in. There's 2 down, and Sumail's looking for more. Chasing after Mumianda. Owie ensnares back off cooldown now. He can stop Swindlemelons on the run, but can they get close to the plasma field damage as well? Frostbite into a snowball. Swindlemelons, that DK turned around, but Universe down for the count. 130 lives still on that DK, but a sleight of fist from Sumail will ensure the kill as he's looking to even go deeper than this, but maybe hold the reins and pull back on this EG attack. He has one chance. Mumianda jumping into the tree lines. Searing Chains, that's a dead Timbersaw. Knows just how far he can push the limits. And Complexity didn't think he could. That's why they stuck around.
Yeah, Sumail is getting so much in this game. It's just the snowball effect from the beginning he had in that mid lane, and very adept at playing this hero. This is going to be an 18-minute Battle Fury on Ember Spirit in the mid position with Treads and Aquila. I think this might be the highest GPM we've seen in this tournament, and hit at 18 for an Ember, so definitely scary here for Complexity, who seem to be losing Swindlemelons.
Yeah, they're going to lose more. Sumail comes up. Z3 can't get close enough to it. Swindlemelon's controlled by the Walrus Punch. Still trying to stun out of here. Z3 has to use the Shallow Grave on himself. Sumail's just hanging around so he can slide a fist him down. Able to do so at the same time as Swindle will drop. EG momentum galore as now Spirit jump in again. He's got Sleight of Fist Searing Chains, gets the timing for it. Sumail actually stops to buy while he's looking down. The snowball comes in from Universe with a perfect sharp positioning. The Timbersaw looking for some revenge. Sumail doesn't have any spirits remaining at the moment, so he can't help out that way. But PPD, the Frostbite's going to be there. Sumail again with the Spirit jump down. Sleight of Fist Searing Chain. He's going to get the kill on Sven. Mumianda's here, but Sumail again, no spirits, but 14 one charge in the shards. The perfect positioning again from Universe. EG, it's a splendid display of Dota coming from them.
They are taking so much advantage of how good their lineup is just at kiting, re-engaging, because they don't want to go for that full-on 5-on-5 where they get comboed by Breathe Fire, Sven Stun, all of Timbersaw's spells. They're simply just using Sumail to just buy time and kite around, and by the way, to steal a couple of ancients just for the heck of it.
It's to the glory of PPD.
Quickly getting out of hand, and Complexity, the game plan was working fine for 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden, EG just entered hard mode.
They started getting kills. It really, like, the push for mid lane is going to be something which we'll be coming back to for a while. Where it just poses the question, what was the cost for that push on mid tower? And even then, it's the only tower that Complexity have taken so far, and it was denied by the Crystal Maiden. So it wasn't even a full tower coming their way. And there's Timbersaw, maybe that's where we should be looking. The Timber is the left field pick. So can he do something against this EG lineup? Can anyone do anything against Sumail? When he's 10-0-4, so much momentum. He misses the, actually hit the Sleight of Fist, but didn't get the Searing Chain. He's going to Spirit jump up. There's your Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain on this Ven. Dropping him down. There's still that Dragon Tail stun into Dragon form as well. But PPD not in range for the Frostbite. Samel just keeps going. Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain kills off this Ven and locks down the DK. Shallow Grave will keep him up for now. But PPD, Real Crystal Maidens channel the whole way. But DK will not be there to watch the end of the show as he TPs back to base. Where are you going, Fear?
He's having a look around.
He's looking for the stacks. He's got the Eye of the Storm turn on and 140 points of damage stolen, so he's got confidence.
Yeah. Complexity are losing
again.
The entire map right now. They fly. Dodge the stun.
He's still going to get hit by the Laguna Blade, but support arrives and snowballing in. This is just getting completely out of control for Complexity. Swinnermelon's locked inside a coffin of ice. Again, they find two more and they just blink forward again. Spirits jump, Sleight of Fist Syrian Chain, back off cooldown. Again on two. I feel like it's a broken record right now.
He
broken for Complexity, that is.
By the way, as well. Just, you know, just as a little bit of a bonus. Well, he's playing pretty well this game.
Just, yeah.
Solid Ember performance so far. Maybe
say.
he missed a CS early game or something. Then he did that wrong.
You scrutinized that missing of CS, Syndrin. Severe critic.
This is an absolute showing of what this hero can do when it gets momentum, and that's why, you know.
But it's even before it got momentum.
Yeah, so if Complexity look back on this game and they're like, where did it go wrong? They just have to look at how much they let Sumail do in this early game. They gave him an easy lane. They didn't really. The bit of pressure they tried to put in mid lane didn't work.
Again.
It's just really taking over the map right now.
It's crazy though, because most of the time, like the older issue with the Ember Spirit was he just took too long to get online.
Yeah.
Like you'd be thinking 22 minutes, I'll get my Battle Fury, and then maybe I have my Chrysalis by 26, 27, and then slowly you'll come online to the point where you do a lot of damage. We're 22 minutes in, and he's managed to get 12 kills and 5 assists out of the 20 kills that EG have gotten. He wasn't involved in 3 of them. Every other one was Sumail either initiating, which he could do even more now as he picked up a Blink Dagger. In fact, just having a nice more fun. Then again, Sumail, this could be it. This could be a huge kill. Dragon Knight claiming almost 1,200 gold for that kill. Sumail will have buyback, and they'll probably lose their tier 2 tower as well unless they fight this.
They could really catch them off guard with a TP song right now, or just a walk-in song here from Aoi. He's getting a really good angle from above.
And
if they want to try for it, they might just concede the tower.
There it is.
They're going to sing after they lose the tower. This is very awkward. It's just going to be like, oops, and...
It kind of looks like indecision, but if they blink and then just Walrus Punch the Timber Saw, okay, not going to happen. He's got 17 one charges and a regeneration rune.
EG, they need to be careful. I mean, they're really far ahead on gold, but once again, as I mentioned, in my opinion, just looking at the drafts in isolation, Complexity can beat them in a team fight, even at a gold deficit, I think. It's all about the initiation and about Moon Meander being able to hit stuff with his spells. Definitely tanky enough once Swindle gets 1 or 2 more core items on his Dragon Tower. Well, just 1 more, actually. He's very, very poor right now, sitting on only the Blink Dagger 24 minutes in and a Bracer. He needs some sort of health. Armor is definitely not the issue here. If they just get a lot of health on all their heroes, it's going to be tricky for EG here. But this is a good item for UI. Being able to apply the -10 armor with Solar Crest is definitely going to help out and probably give them a real shot.
Yep, it's the perfect timing for it. It's kind of interesting though, like we do see the Blink Dagger on the DK. Kind of flags to me the fact that Complexity just don't feel like they got any level of initiation, and DK has to do that for him before he builds into these tanky items. So they try and come out and at least do something against this EG lineup whenever they possibly can. Right now, Roshan is dead. The movement's coming over from Moon Meander. Universe also right in front of him, so in comes Yashakram on the pit line, and if he cancelled it out, he was meant to Timber Chain back off cooldown. It's like, you know, he could have actually waited a little bit longer on that one, but Bloodstone Denial will be what happens.
Yeah, you're right. He actually could have waited because all the stuns were on cooldown, but he's not going to...
His Timber Chain would have also come back off cooldown as well. He could have tried to chain back up the hill again.
It's actually, well, he was probably dead. Like, the escape paths he had there were not really that useful. But you're right. He could have at least tried for it a little bit longer.
Especially considering that tier 1 tower is currently sitting within deny range. That's 61 life on the tower. Like, all you need to do is have Sven walk up there and hit it twice. And in fact, the TPs are already coming in from EG. At the same time, it almost feels like bait. Sumel's the first one. Yep, blink, stun, breathe fire. Now the God Strength. They need to kill him, and they do it. Aoi, again, very late on that Nagasaran ultimate.
And the tower. But this is
Fear is here, though.
cost them.
Fear is here. Sumel's going to go for the Searing Chain. He gets Dragon Tail stunned. The Snowball will buy a little bit more space here. The breathe fire, Universe dropping low. They need to keep him up, but it's just not possible for Complexity. The Shallow Grave allowing Sven to continue to fight, but being frostbitten and sigiled and slowed. He just can't reach a target to hit it. Oh, lucky to get out.
I think PPD was really close to a frostbite there.
Sumel also had Slap Fist on cooldown, so he couldn't get in range for the Searing Chains.
This is really, really good. This is a very good call in this game. 100% agree with it against this particular team. I think Desolator on Ember is not as... I mean, in a way, it should be better than it used to be because it's cheaper now. But at the same time, the way you build up Ember and the way you plan out the game, you generally want the really hard-hitting crits over just solid, stable damage, but in this game, they simply just need all the minus armor they can get. EG are reading the draft here perfectly, getting both the Crest and the Deso as early as possible.
And EG, you didn't really expect anything less from them, even though it did look very, very hairy during the first 10 minutes of Game 1. But they've come back, they're showing they've got the brains in the game, and Fear, like he's got his own BKB now up and running. It's even another 12.
Stacks. Under attack.
Complexity can't let this happen. Like, this Sven's not getting anything. Like, the last item he picked up, I think, was basically 15 minutes ago, and it wasn't even a Mask of Madness, it was a casual Morbid Mask. He's trying to get into a Blink Dagger so they can keep up with the rest of the team, while on bottom lane, that Snowball's going to keep chasing up Mumianda. He doesn't have mana. The TP out, the Universe actually caught on the other side of the tree line, still will get there for the Walrus Punch. Has to chain away and do this the hard way. The shards will lock him in, but again, the Timber Chain onto the other side. Universe with a Blink Dagger of his own, body blocking up the Timber Saw. Another chain away, but Snowball as well as shards back off cooldown. But they're in range of the tier 2 tower, while Swindermelon is actually dying to Sumail. Spirit jump in, Sleight of Fist him 1 second time. That might almost be enough. Jumping around to the Warcry will arrive in for Sven. The Stormbolt as well, but once again, Blink Dagger disjoining every stun the Complexity try and throw out.
He is. You know what kind of game it is when Ember is soloing your Dragon Knight. That is not good.
It's a rough game.
Here.
It's a rough game.
Radiant's middle tower.
But this tier 2 tower also, days will be numbered. Because even the push now for EG is getting stronger. Removing 7 armor from these buildings whenever Sumail connects.
And you can imagine Fear might be thinking of Axe as his next item in this game as well. Has the BKB as well as mech and drums, so very utility.
Unless they try and counter the full armor and goes into something like an Assault Cuirass.
Yeah, that's what I mentioned. They need an AC as well. The question is what hero gets it. It could be Fear. They could technically get it on Sumail. I think that would be a bad choice. Tusker is not the worst either, but he's very far away. So yeah, I would agree. I think AC is better than Aghanim's this game for the Razor. Although that obviously also applies minus armor, but it's way less reliable and it's not for all the heroes at once.
Sumail is going to go for the damage. It's Crystallis now. What was it, 28 minutes? I said it was meant to pick up Crystallis, but with a Desolator to boot too. And there's that Blink Dagger over on Sven. So Complexity, they really have to try and find some openings. There is an observable that's watching Fear farming right now. And Mumianda will arrive, but it's a little bit too late. The rest of EG grouping up together. They might try and retake their jungle away from the Complexity players. At the same time, I'm seeing Sumail jump down to a Spirit. He's just heading down south. He runs into the Radiant jungle to find more farm. And Complexity, they're being worked across one side of the map to the other. They want to find initiations, but they can't find EG.
They're just struggling to find openings right now. It's what they need. I think fighting is what Complexity have to resort to because their Sven is as far behind as he is. This hero does not play well from this kind of deficit. He has 74 CS at minute 30 because they chose to safely in the Timber. Comparison, the Razor on the other side, 200 CS on Fear. And AUI, we haven't talked so much about him so far, I think, but he is slowly just climbing up. 106 CS on him, Solar Crest 1800. He could start looking at a Radiance if he wanted to take it really late.
Oh, they found someone. Swindermelons. Snowball's coming in, and again, Sumail right there at the right time, and it will be the Ember Spirit to take the kill on the DK. Now pushing him up to 15 kills, 6 assists for his 1 death on Sumail.
This is a very good play. Ah, there's a ward. Okay. This could have been a very good play for EG, but the ward saves Fly here. I think Fly was expecting they would start pushing down mid Sumail was still showing in the mid lane there, but they made a very quick rotation with both CM and the Tusk still looking for Fly here, by the way, but he is a goner.
See how confident EG are when they start stacking the Radiant Ancients for Sumail to farm. There's just nowhere on this map that's safe for Complexity to move unless they're together as 5. And even then I would question it. Because the closer they group up together, the more powerful Sumail becomes. And they start their defensive warding. So they can see when EG try and force, like, if they're just trying to attack from the side when they attack into the tier 2 tower, then Complexity will get some vision on that. But how do you counter-initiate this Ember Spirit? If you can't Stormbolt him because you're going to blink or Spirit away, you Light Strike Array with a Yule Scepter seems to be optimistic at best.
Their only engage is blink stuff from Dragon Knight.
That's it.
It's the only thing they can really rely on right here. They have to rely on that or catching Sumail by surprise. So if he's not looking, getting
the double! The double over on Fly as well as Z-Freak. It was a blink into a Sleight of Fist Searing Chain. He caught both of them, and now Z-Freak tries to run away too. More Spirit jump down for Sumail. Let him have the hit. It's a double kill for Ember Spirit. They're just feeding. They're feeding the fire that is Sumail.
That was really interesting because you could see the immediate thought process of Universe as he snowballed in there. So he wanted to go for a Walrus Punch on the Dazzle and just kill him. And then he realizes, wait, there's Grave on the Lina. She's porting out. If I just move over and punch her, we can easily chase down with our Ember Spirit. I think a lot of players in that situation would just be like, oh great, there's Grave on Lina. Let me just kill the other hero with Walrus Punch. But instead he actually secures 2 kills by switching his target. Well played there. Good detail from Universe.
Smart play by EG, and now Complexity. Their base being attacked. When Demalans, the snowball comes in, it's just going to be Universe in that. Meanwhile, up on top lane, the God Strength was triggered by Sven to try and bring down this tier 2 tower, but that's the trade-off, and you've just given up 1, your DK, and 2, your ultimate. It will not be available for this fight, which EG are forcing. Another Sleight of Fist to Searing Chain. Z-Freak dropping by half of his life, and even more of his armor.
Oh, PPD trying for an aggressive 4-step there, but Moon Meander does turn away.
He's trying to keep his back to the rest of EG.
It's still crazy, right? Like they have a team with so much armor. Sumail is just so far ahead that
Look at him just jump in!
Right. Look at this damage he can output.
With 1 hit, he removed half of the life of Sven. I don't think he wants to turn on that Mask of Madness. It's almost suicide underneath this Ember Spirit.
He's gonna... Complexity are gonna have to try to go for a smoke gank and find some million if they can.
We have Aghanim Scepter. We have the Aghanims up for the Timbersaw. So double Chakrams to try and defend the high ground of Complexity. But EG didn't really care. Roshan's going to spawn up in roughly 30 seconds from now. So they'll go in, they'll take it. They don't even need, like, you could give this to what? Razor? He's not even coming close to dying right now. You could potentially give it to Sumail because he's a little bit of a glass cannon, but Complexity also haven't really come close to killing him off.
I'll definitely give it to Sumail. It gives them a lot more flexibility in the fights with how he can engage. He'll be able to open up very aggressively, set up for a different kind of team fight. And even should he die after with the Aegis, as long as he just gets a fire in and out, he can even buy back and port our back. Or never mind, he can.
Moving hand up. Fia.
He's a good boots of travel carrier though, so you can look
moving up after him. Still more stuns available. There goes the Walrus Punch, but Timber Chain can just be used right now to get away. The double Chakrams are down, and Timbersaw frostbitten, and then also the CM ulti. They'll force a denial out with the Bloodstone. But there's your Aghanim Scepter we're talking about over on Razor. The push power is now real for EG, if it wasn't real before. Where is Swindmelin going? He got the weave off. There's negative armor on him, but he's actually at negative 20 right now. But even then, killing off this Ember is next to impossible. Sven is now at the point where he just has to try and creep skip the top lane. That's some level of pressure for EG to look behind them and worry about what's coming. Fear won't get there in time. Sven will be out of TP. But on bottom lane, Melons is actually Sumail that can basically do this solo. Leaves his defensive spirit, but he's got help. The Tuskar's there, Universe. There's your defensive spirit jump out. It was on purpose to bait Complexity to come out further. Universe actually not able to hit Fly with that snowball because of the Yule Scepter, but the Stormbolt connects with Laguna Blade. They get the kill on Sumail. Fear will stand its ground, but he's draining a lot of damage away from that DK, looking to inflict it into the rest of Complexity. They just keep fighting with Chakrams down. Mumienda now frostbitten up. He can't go anywhere until he timber chains forward. The Glimmer Cape buying space for Fear. Just keep running out here as Universe back to the fray. So is Sumail right in the front line. Z-Freak, perfect Shadow Grave, keeping himself alive. But Sumail, he's got Flight of Fist up as well as Searing Chains. He'll look for the double. He only gets the one that's over on the Dragon Knight, but the damage should be enough to kill him off before the TP. In fact, they just ensnare him and then bring him down. The Snowball chasing up Mumienda, the sole survivor of Complexity. And even then, he may not be that for long. No, he gets back into the base. But the creep wave's coming in and EG will look to bottom racks.
Look at the health of EG's heroes and the fact that Sumail bought back. That fight was actually fairly close. They're 25,000 gold behind. And 25,000 experience, and their lineup can still put up this kind of fight. This is the Timbersaw in action against the Dire lineup with the Aghanim Scepter pickup. He's doing so much damage here. The Sven actually got to attack a little bit in that fight as well, but they're flat. They're simply just too far behind. Like, imagine that kind of fight on even footing. It's an easy 5-0 for Complexity. Just run them over there. They will never die with their heroes. But EG, they've built themselves such a big lead with a great early game that, unfortunately, in my opinion, we don't get to see the real potential of Complexity's draft that I absolutely love in this case.
It had a lot to work with, but
it had so much potential, but you need the execution too, or else it's just not going to cut it.
But EG, they fought back. They've done it perfectly, and now they take Roshan. They'll give Ember Spirit the Aegis Immortal as your drop now. So you have an Ember Spirit at level 20, 22, 36 minutes in, having a terrific time. And they look for the openings. Complexity smoked up. PPD the close one. We did an invis room. They didn't see him. They see Sumail, but the jump is still going to be real. Sumail, the Song of the Siren, last attack. The last attack blows the Aegis.
Time that happened?
It's up there, but then the IT shards blocking him for Complexity playing Sumail. They Lotus Orb him up, but they bring him down. That's with the dive back. Complexity, this is their moment. But how much of a moment have they got? They haven't lost anyone. PPD, the only one bear off. But Mumienda with the Chakrams, he's following him down. The Stormbolt will keep PPD back for now. And Dragon, he's back in again after Fear. Then again the Lotus Orb. What have they got? Fear staying alive. They Glimmer Cape him as well. They're also low. Z-Free, they still keep fighting. Universe on the front lines doing this to Tuskar. It's a triple kill, however, for Fear. They catch up to Mumienda. Universe will take it. It's a team wipe. They could almost be the game right now with EG wiping Complexity out. They dealt with the M Spirit, but EG, they have a 5-man roster.
That was an incredible snowball in the end by Universe. If he doesn't get that one out, I think the fight just goes the exact opposite way, and Complexity could have cleaned up multiple heroes there. But in the clutch, EG are so good at these, like all these micro plays with like Glimmer Capes, Force Staffs, Lotus Orb. Here again, the snowball from Universe making a really big difference. This is 2 lanes of racks. I don't think Complexity has any chance of holding this. Push very, very fast here with Fear.
I-Force staffed aggressively in by PPD. The Shadow Grave will keep him alive for the moment. He has Laguna Blade now. Swindermelons to the front lines. You've still got Laguna Blade. Fly hasn't gotten off yet. He's just trying to get away from the Dark Creep Wave while Swindermelons is dying. The Chakrams can't buy enough space from Mumienda. The Universe so low as they pull in the double Chakrams. The Sentry Wall's down so they can keep tabs on the Tuskar. And EG will now back up. They do significant damage to the melee ranks, which will regenerate.
Yeah, Complexity do hold it, but it cost them a Dragon Knight dieback, actually. He died immediately after there. Very aggressive TP from Swindle. He might have felt like he had to sacrifice himself there to keep the Parax alive, and to be honest, it might actually be worth it at this point. I think the focus for the Radiant is, like, if they're obviously still hanging on to the hope of winning this game, I think they shouldn't farm the Dragon Knight. Like, he is not going to become relevant unless they win multiple team fights in a row. So for him to buy back to save even just a melee reps, I think is the right call here.
So
it's the Sven and the Timber that need to get items, especially the Sven. If he can get some sort of relevant, like even just a BKB at this point would work wonders here for Zizzy.
Hey, just look at the lineup. And
got a Crest too now on Dazzle.
The second I just see him getting a BKB, Ari will look to control him as much as he can or isolate him while he triggers the BKB so they can just mop up this event nice and quick. And while he doesn't have that BKB, there's Fresh Heaven's Halberd, which was picked up over on Noe as well. Like, Sven's worst enemy right now is the Naga Siren. Everything she does just destroys what he does.
Yeah. And yeah, that's the problem. Even with a BKB, you can still get the snare just shut down with the rest of the team put to sleep. But it's the path he has to take. There's no other option. They're basically very, very cornered here. And EG are looking to push them off the edge.
Yep, coming in. Samel the first one, Slider Fissurian Chain again being used over on that Timbersaw with no reactive armor, charges being built up. It hurts like hell. And Fear with the ulti on, there's another Slider Fissurian Chain over on Moomin. And a blink forward, Swindamelons catches out Fear. That sentry wasn't longer there, and Aoi just stops the fight. And in fact, they got Sven and DK right on top of each other. Fear triggering off that BKB, Swindamelons dying so quickly. I don't even see how that Sven instantly popped, but Swindamelons, the Shallow Grave keeps him alive. But Samel runs backwards, it's a double kill for him. Fly may even just burn from this. And with the shards coming in, yep, they'll be ready to take it. Complexity being farmed up inside their base. I don't know if they're gonna have the same mindset about game one where they just fight to the bitter end, but EG are so powerful right now, they'll kill off every single player of Complexity. The fact that Z-Freak is inside of his fountain isn't even a saving grace. They will take the mid racks, they've taken bottom racks, and they will look to take the full series here, EG, and push themselves into the semi-finals of the International 5. Samel wants blood, and Z-Freak is almost going to give it to him.
EG, what an incredible game from them this was, actually. There are just so many small plays that add up over the course of this game. It wasn't like just one single big team fight you could say won it. It was all of these 3-on-3s, skirmishes, small fights. They simply outclassed Complexity on pretty much every single move in this game.
They really did.
Very well played.
It was a superb performance of Dota. You could look back at it for a while. I know a lot of EG fans will, and Complexity will have to study it as well, as they will now drop into the lower bracket of TI5, while EG